Welcome back to your source for fantasy hockey news. We got tons to talk about today. Flying solo, just myself, but we got loads to talk about. Details for the Fantasy Hockey Listener League, all breaking down on today's episode. Those invites should be coming out by this weekend. Division odds, Stanley Cup odds, and more. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get right into it.
You're Locked On Fantasy Hockey, your daily podcast on fantasy hockey. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. I am your host, Steele Rodin. Thank you so much for tuning in Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock in the morning. We appreciate all that love and support, and that's where I'm going to start off right now. Thank you so much for getting us to 1K subscribers on YouTube. That was our goal for the start of this season, before the season even started. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, helping us reach our goal, and I'm very excited about this upcoming season. We'll get into the Fantasy Hockey Listener League details for both the competitive and casual league. We'll talk about some division odds, some Stanley Cup odds, but this episode is brought to you by Jace Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jace case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50+ infections. Get yours today at jacemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. And we appreciate everyone tuning in. Like I said, just all the support, all the DMs, all the advice we've been getting on YouTube, on Twitter, just questions, thanking us for all the content and just all the support we've received from everybody out there. So thank you so much. We've got people out in Europe as well, in Sweden and Norway, tuning in, DMing us. We appreciate all that love from everybody. So thank you so much for tuning in. That's why we're going to get into the Fantasy Hockey Listener League details. Like I said, we're going to get to some division odds, Stanley Cup odds. It's going to be a pretty short, quick episode for today, just flying solo by myself. So thank you guys for tuning in for this Thursday episode with your boy Steele Rodin. Fantasy Hockey Listener League details, though. Let's get right into it because everyone's been questioning, everyone's been commenting, wondering when are we going to get the invite? When is this draft going to happen? Everything like that. So let's get right into the details for the Fantasy Hockey Listener League. How does the draw work? Essentially, right now, we have over 30 participants that want to be a part of the Fantasy Hockey Listener League for both the casual and competitive league. So we have 60+ participants that want to join Flip and I this season for our second year doing this Fantasy Hockey Listener League. We couldn't, again, just preaching all of you guys for wanting to join and be a part of this and be a part of this community with us. It's 2 years into this Locked On journey, and we are so happy with the way things are turning out right now. So thank everybody for tuning in. But again, we have 60+ participants that want to join, 30 for each the casual and 30+ for each the casual and competitive league. So how is the draw going to work? Essentially, how it's going to work, we're going to put all, let's just say 35 names from the competitive league into an online generator, one of those spinning the wheels or, random generators that, that make a list for you. So we're going to put all 30+ names from the competitive league at one time, and we're just going to do the draw that way. It's at random. It's the most fairest way that we could think of that would give everybody a good chance and nobody's being excluded. It's as simple and as fair as it could be. We're going to put all names into that online generator, and the first 14 names that get picked, there's 16 spots, but two of them are reserved. 2 of them are reserved for Flip and I, as well as another 2 are actually reserved for the winners of last year's fantasy league. So only 13 spots actually for the casual league and 13 spots for the competitive league, because there are reserved spots for Flip and I, plus the 2 winners from last year who will get a spot automatically because they won. So again, that's how the draw works. We're just going to do an online generator. The first 13 names that get chosen out of that online generator will be a part of the casual league. We're going to do the same thing for the competitive league. We'll put all 30+ names into the online generator. The first 13 names that get picked, that's exactly how we're going to do it. To us, that's the most fair way that we could come up with, fair and easy way It's again, it's just fair for everybody that way. We're not picking the names ourselves. We're going to the online generator. It's at random. So that's how we're going to do it. Once those names are chosen, we'll get both of those leagues going up, the casual and competitive league, and those invites will be sent out to your email. So join as soon as possible. Join as soon as you get those emails if you've been invited, so we can get everybody locked in and loaded for the upcoming draft, which will take place on September 27th and on September 28th. We are super excited about that. So how will the league actually break down? Again, like I said, 16 spots. Three of them are reserved in each league for the winners, and Flip and I, both of the leagues will be on Yahoo Fantasy League. We did a poll on Twitter. We asked what everybody out there wanted, and the most common answer out there, the one was Yahoo Fantasy League. We did ESPN last year. Didn't seem that a lot of people liked it. It's not for everybody, so we're transitioning over to Yahoo Fantasy League, where a lot of people really love how it's all laid out, and it's super easy to use, starting your lineup for the entire week and so on. So we'll be transitioning over to Yahoo Fantasy League. Like we've talked about a lot over the last couple of months, the casual league will be worth $20. It will be a $20 entry fee. Flip and I will have to come up with how we're going to dice up the prizes for first, second, and third. But the casual league will be $20 entry fee. The competitive league will be a $50 entry fee. And as you can tell, it will be first, second, and third place getting those prizes back, with the outright winning. First, obviously getting more than second getting more than third, but that's how it will work. It will come up to a total of what the entry fees all came out to. So again, $20 for casual league, $50 for competitive. And how will the actual breakdown, how will the draft actually work? It's going to be a snake draft. There's going to be 18 rounds in it. So there's going to be 8 forward spots, 5 defenseman spots, 1 utility spot, 2 goalies, 2 goalie spots, and 2 bench spots. We're also going to throw in 1 or 2 IR spots on there because we know players get injured. So we'll throw 1 or 2 IR spots in there, but there's going to be 18 rounds. It's not going to be by positional. Maybe Flip and I will discuss about that. But as of right now, it's not a positional draft. It's going to be 8 forward spots, 5 defenseman spots, 1 utility, 2 goalies, and 2 bench spots. If Flip and I decide that we're going to switch it over to positional, that's how we'll do it. It'll most likely be 3 centermen, 3 left wingers, 2 right wingers, something like that. We'll have to figure it out. But as of right now, it's not positional. It's just by positions or by forward, defense, and goalies, and then those 2 bench spots and a utility spot. It's going to be head-to-head categories as well. That was the most common answer on YouTube or on Twitter when we threw up those polls. What do we want it to be? Head-to-head fantasy points, head-to-head categories. It was most common. It was chosen that it's going to be head-to-head categories. So it's going to be goals, assists, plus minus, game-winning goals, shots, hits, blocks, special team points, and then for the goalies, wins, goals against average, save percentage, and shutouts. We'll probably throw in 1 more in those forward defensive categories just to make it an odd number. So most likely someone will win for that week 1 or week 2 matchup. We'll throw in something juicy in there like hat tricks or, penalty minutes, something that's uncommon like that, just to make it a little bit more interesting. But those will be the categories: goals, assists, plus minus, game-winning goals, shots, hits, blocks, special team points. And then for goalies, like I said, wins, goals against average, save percentage, and shutouts. That's the way we love to play. That's how it's going to be for the second year doing this Fantasy Hockey Listener League. And again, the cutoff date was September 20th. So if you are DMing us anymore, we're very, very sorry, but we're not going to be accepting those add-ons. We've already got the 30 plus for each of those leagues that have already participated, that have emailed us, that have or DM'd us and commented on YouTube. Wouldn't be fair to them because that was the cutoff date, September 20th. So we appreciate all that love and support. But unfortunately, if you continue to DM us after today, after September 20th, it's not going to be added onto the list because the draw would already have happened by now. So that's the breakdown. There could be a few more details that Flip and I discussed that will let everybody know who does get invited to the casual and competitive league, but we couldn't be more excited about it. Hockey is right around the corner. October 10th, only 3 weeks away from the start of the NHL season. So we want to get this draft up and going so everybody is ready for the start of the season of the NHL. Couldn't be more excited about it, but couldn't be more excited about our sponsor, AG1. This episode is also brought to you by AG1, the daily foundational nutrition supplement that supports whole body health. I drink it literally every day. I gave AG1 a try because I was tired of taking so much supplements and wanted a single solution that supports my entire body and covers my nutritional bases every day. AG1 helps with better gut health, a boost in energy, immune system, and most importantly, like I've said multiple times, I hate taking pills and vitamins. It's absolutely the worst. And the fact that AG1 was an option for me, it just made everything more smooth, everything more clear in the morning when taking it. I drink AG1 right at the crack of dawn in the morning, and it makes me feel ready to take on my day. I've got a lot going on, the podcast, school. I'm back in school right now. I'm working my job as well. And it just makes me feel like I'm doing something good for my body, and it's a great way to start the day. All great athletes have one thing in common. They take care of their bodies, and that's what I'm trying to do. And it's a huge part of that starts with optimizing whole body health. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/NHL network. That's drinkag1.com/NHL network. Check it out today. And thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. We appreciate all of our fans and supporters out there, all of our listeners for tuning in. Make sure you continue to hit that subscribe button, hit the follow button, leave a 5-star review. And again, continue to DM us any questions, any comments, any opinions that you may have, or leave the comments down on the YouTube channel. We try to get to them every single day. Once we get back from our jobs, obviously, and from school, we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And we appreciate all of the conversations we've had with everybody so far. So continue to do so. Continue to DM us. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. We're going to take a quick look at some division odds. I know Flip and I have went through this before, but I want to go through it again and just look at the updated odds, obviously, with training camp happening and lineups happening, line combos, and everything that's just going on before the preseason and obviously the start of the season on October 10th. So I want to go through some division odds with everybody out there. And let's start in the Metropolitan Division. I'll go through all the odds right now from bottom to top. Flyers at plus 13,000, Blue Jackets at plus 10,000. And then it's a drastic jump. Capitals plus 2,200, Islanders plus 1,100, Penguins plus 550, Rangers plus 410, Devils plus 240, and Hurricanes plus 200. Obviously, the Hurricanes are the top of the division right now. They've been the top of the division for the last 3 or 4 seasons, and that's why they're at plus 200 right now. I'm going to throw my favorite one as of right now is obviously the New York Rangers at plus 410. You're getting some juicy odds right there if you parlay them with the other 3 divisions and boost your odds as well. But I really like the New York Rangers. I know I had them finishing 3rd in the division, but the team is ready. The blue line is secure. Keandre Miller continues to get better. Jacob Trouba is an absolute beast. Adam Fox is obviously one of the best defensemen in the league right now. They also have one of the best goalies in Igor Shesterkin. It's debatable with Vasilevsky and Sorokin. And then the top 6 forward group, they got shown up last year in the playoffs against the Devils in that first round. They were up 2-0, and they let that one slip away. New York Rangers are going to bounce back. I've said this every year. I'm high on them. I'm high on them again. New York Rangers at plus 410 for me are the juiciest and best odds. Obviously, the Hurricanes at plus 200 is great as well. I just don't think the Devils will get to the top of the division. They're going to be a top 3 team, but will they finish first? I don't believe so. So I'm going with the New York Rangers at plus 410. Off to the Atlantic Division, though, right now, again, bottom to top, Montreal Canadiens plus 11,000, Red Wings plus 2,000. So that's a big jump in itself right there. Senators plus 1,100, Sabres plus 1,000, Panthers plus 500, Lightning plus 400, Bruins plus 390, which I think is a huge surprise. I'm not sure what the odd makers are thinking right now, but Toronto Maple Leafs at plus 200. For me, even though they're at plus 200 and they're at the top, I'm going with the Toronto Maple Leafs at plus 200. It's their year to finish first in the Atlantic Division. I know they came in first during the COVID season, but that was with all Canadian teams. It's completely different. I'm going with the Toronto Maple Leafs at plus 200 with the New York Rangers to boost my odds. If you're not feeling the Maple Leafs, I would start leaning towards the Tampa Bay Lightning. They've got an incredible team so far. Sergachev has really come into his own, a top fantasy ad, just to add on to that. But Tampa Bay Lightning at plus 400 would be the second team that I have behind the Toronto Maple Leafs at plus 200 right now. Off to the Central Division, I'm going to list all of them again. The Connor Bedard Chicago Blackhawks team, plus 9,500. Coyotes plus 9,500, Predators plus 1,600, Blues 1,600, Jets plus 1,000, Wild plus 500, Stars plus 220, and Avalanche plus 140. Obviously, again, if you're going to parlay some of these divisions together, throw in the Colorado Avalanche. They are one of the best teams in the NHL. They dealt with a couple of chaotic, outbreaks last year with the news stories, Valerian Nichushkin, a couple of injuries to some top players, obviously Cale Makar and McKinnon, but they're fully healthy. They bring in Ross Colton. They bring in a few other guys. Plus 140 for the Colorado Avalanche. If you're not feeling them, I don't care if I'm being biased right now. Minnesota Wild at plus 500. I think they're going to be a sneaky good team. They're going to be a top 3 team, in my opinion, regardless, but I could see them finishing up and sneaking up on a few guys who a lot of people underrate the Minnesota Wild. So I'm going to go them at plus 500 right now behind the Avalanche at plus 140. I know the Dallas Stars are there. I know Ottinger, Miro Heiskanen, Robertson, Rupe Hintz. I don't know. I just don't. They're going to be a top 3 team as well, but they will not finish atop the Central Division. Finally, Pacific Division. Sharks. I'm not even going to. I'll say it. Plus 2,100 right now. Ducks plus 17,000. Sharks plus 21,000, Ducks plus 17,000, and then it just jumps up tremendously from there. Canucks plus 1,400, Kraken plus 1,100, Flames plus 800, Kings plus 380, Golden Knights plus 240, and Oilers plus 185. I'm not even going to try to make an argument for the other teams. You could maybe go with the Vegas Golden Knights, obviously, off that Stanley Cup win. I don't believe they finished first last season as well. I'm going to go with the Edmonton Oilers, plus 185. They've got McDavid. They've got they've got McDavid. They've got Draisaitl. They bring in Connor Brown, who has that connection with McDavid as well. The second line was Zach Hyman, Evander Kane, Ryden Nugent-Hopkins, all of those guys. The top 6 is just immaculate for the Edmonton Oilers. They still have Matthias Ekholm, Darnell Nurse. I expect a huge bounce back season offensively. He already brings the blocks, the hits, and the shots on net, but get above 35 plus points. I believe he will. And then Stuart Skinner, I think he's ready to take the reins. Obviously, Jack Campbell can fight him for it. Jack Campbell can put up a little bit of a tussle with Stuart Skinner, but Skinner was fairly impressive last year. I don't think he was as ready to take the Edmonton Oilers to the Stanley Cup or even, Stanley Cup finals. I think he can be ready this year. That's one of the reasons why I drafted in my fantasy league. Edmonton Oilers at plus 185. Parlay these together. Edmonton Oilers with the Avalanche, with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the New York Rangers. If you're not feeling it, do what you feel. It's all fun and games right now. Throw $1 on it. Throw a couple, throw $5 on it with a parlay. But if you're feeling some of those other teams, like I said, Hurricanes plus 200, Penguins at plus 550. Throw a parlay together, throw a couple of dollars on it. You never know what's going to happen. And those are my favorite division winners for this upcoming season. We will get to the Stanley Cup odds, talk about the whole entire NHL league. But this episode is also brought to you by our friends at Bird Dogs. They are the comfiest pair of pants or shorts you will ever put on, and I guarantee you that. You'll look great and feel even better with Bird Dogs. Bird Dogs stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. They're built for comfort and for versatility. Bird Dogs give you the freedom to wear their pants for any type of occasion, a night out with friends, a meeting, or even the golf course. I know the golf season's ending, so get your Bird Dogs on. Get out there for those last couple of rounds. You're not going to regret it, and you're never going to regret Bird Dogs. The built-in liners are an absolute game changer, which is why, again, I've already got 4 pairs of shorts with me, and they are tremendous. I've got some more coming in next week. I can't get enough of these bird dogs. Again, they're just comfy. Just wear them around the house, wear them to bed, wear them out while you're going for a walk. You can wear them for anything. They have a huge variety of styles and clothing like khaki shorts, Oxford shorts, bathing suits, joggers, and khakis. Go to birddogs.com/lockedonnhl or enter promo code LOCKEDONNHL at checkout for a free Bird Dogs water bottle with your order. That's birddogs.com/lockedonnhl for a free water bottle at checkout. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off. We promise you, and we guarantee that. Thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, leave a 5-star review. And again, continue to DM us with any questions, any opinions that you might have. We love the conversations we've had with everybody out there so far. So thank you so much for tuning in and getting us to 1,000 subscribers. We're already at 1,020, I believe. So the number continues to grow. We appreciate it. The streams on the podcast platform are absolutely booming right now. And it's all thanks to you guys out there, all thanks to our listeners. So we just this episode is pretty much preaching our listeners. We appreciate everything you do and support for us on this podcast and on this network, the Locked On Podcast Network. Let's get into the Stanley Cup odds, though, real quickly before we wrap this beautiful episode up. Obviously, we've already talked about some of the top teams in the division and some of my favorites going into the NHL this upcoming year. Right now, I'm just going to list off the few top teams. Avalanche at plus 850 to win the Stanley Cup. Hurricanes plus 900. Then the Devils coming in at third with plus 1100. Seems like the Devils are fan favorites right now, and they're ready to take that next step. I don't know about it. Maple Leafs also at plus 1100. Oilers at plus 1100. Stars plus 1300. Golden Knights also at 1300. Bruins and Lightning and the New York Rangers all at plus 1700. The Panthers at plus 2000. My Wild at plus 3,000. And then it sort of dwindle off a little bit later down. The Kings at plus 2,000 as well. Penguins at plus 2,200. Could be their last shot at a Stanley Cup after acquiring Erik Karlsson. They're going to give it a good go. No questions about that. For me, though, I don't want to sound too biased here, but I truly believe this could be the Toronto Maple Leafs year. You know, they bring in Max Domi, they bring in Ryan Reeves, they bring in Tyler Bertuzzi. I think Joseph Wall's right there to making that next step as well. Samsonov was excellent last year. If he doesn't go down to that injury, who knows how that second round against the Florida Panthers turns out. But I really like the Toronto Maple Leafs at plus 1,100. I also like the Oilers at plus 1,100. Those two Canadian teams have the best chance to bringing the Stanley Cup back to Canada and making all of this worthwhile. It's been a long time coming, obviously, for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They finally break that 19-year curse of getting past the first round. They get into the second round and get absolutely torched by the Panthers. But I really like them going into this upcoming season. You could look at the Vegas Golden Knights at plus 1,300. Back-to-back Stanley Cup champion, or if they could go back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. So number one for me are the Toronto Maple Leafs at plus. Number one and number two are the Maple Leafs and Edmonton Oilers at plus 1,100. My third team, it's going to be the New York Rangers again at plus 1,700. That always seems to be where they land before the season starts, around 1,700, 1,800, even a couple years back, 2,000. But at plus 1,700, you're getting some great odds. The team is absolutely sound right now. They've got the physicality. They've got the skill. They've got the goaltenders. They've got the defensive defensemen in them as well. And it's really just executing at this point. They did not execute against the New Jersey Devils last year. They go up 2-0 on the road to start with, and they pretty much just got torched after that. It wasn't a good look for the New York Rangers. Artemi Panarin needs to be better. He knows that. Mika Zibanejad, their top players, Chris Kreider, some of those young guys really need to step up. So I really like the New York Rangers at plus 1,700. If you're feeling spicy, if you're feeling like taking a shot, I always like betting on the New York Islanders. I think defensively, they've got it packed down. They're going to have a full year of Bo Horvat. Hopefully Horvat and Barzal can get things going. I've already talked about Oliver Wahlstrom as well and what he could potentially do on that top line. They get rid of some of their older guys, get a little bit younger, get a little bit faster. So I always like throwing a $5 bill on the New York Islanders, especially at plus 4,500. I think defensively and goalie-wise, if you're looking at it from that perspective, they've got it in them as well to make a deep playoff run. Other than that, I always throw a $5 or $20 bill on the Minnesota Wild at plus 3,000 this year before the season starts. Those are my favorite Stanley Cup and division odds for this upcoming season. Let me know what your favorite odds are for the Stanley Cup and for the division winners as well. We appreciate all the comments you leave on YouTube. Thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Make sure you're tuning in Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock in the morning. Eastern time is when you can find all of our episodes. And again, thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode of the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Have a great day. Good luck with all your bets tonight, and we shall see you back here again tomorrow. Peace.